Good morning, family. It is early. I'm drinking my coffee. I woke up, couldn't sleep, so I was watching some YouTube channels of the people that I follow, and if you follow me, I do appreciate you. I need to get my day started. So in that box right there is some jars that I've taken out of the pantry, or the jars I use for my yogurt that I need to put back into the pantry. And if you saw the last video when we were doing the Sunday chat and we were talking about spices, all my spices are still right here on the island. But before I put these away, I've decided I want to go ahead and fill up my kitchen jars. I have a list of things I want to do. Now, whether we get it all done or not, I don't know. But I went ahead and put a list on my refrigerator. I need to make some granola. I need to make some hamburger buns. Or I might make them into sub breads. I'm undecided, but we're going to make some kind of buns. I want to make another loaf of artisan bread. I need to make bread so we can make French toast to have some more French toast in the freezer. I need to make another batch of yogurt. I want to make some breakfast sausage, but if I don't have time or if I don't have enough ground turkey, we'll move that till next week. Not a big deal. But I need to make and can some homemade chili. If I could get it done today, that would be awesome. I like to plan my weekend, and my weekend is not a Saturday and Sunday. My weekend is 2 days I don't have to go to work outside the home. I'll be working inside the home. This is a list of the things I want to do on my weekend. So first off, I need to fill up all my spices. Well, not all of them. Onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, Italian season, and basil. I have those right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill these up. Went ahead and wrote a list of the things I need to get from the pantry. While I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and put all the spices and herbs back in there, as well as that box of jars. So, let me go shopping and I'll be right back. Hello, family. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. It's not really a day in the life. It's just a weekend in the kitchen. We're going to start off by getting our granola going. So we need to toast our almonds so we can get the granola all put together and get that in the oven. So we're going to need 1 cup of almonds. Going to go ahead and use the big baking sheet. This is where we're going to be toasting or roasting all of our mixture. No need dirtying 2 pans and wasting parchment paper. Oven is preheating to 300 degrees. And now we're just going to toast the almonds until there's a little bit of color. And when you pinch them, they'll break real easy. In the oven. Let's go ahead and get all of our components to the granola going. Give the almonds a little toss. Back in the oven. We need 4 cups of oats. And I do keep bay leaves in my oats just to keep rodents and pests away. Coconut shreds, we need a 1/2 cup. Now you can use raisins, craisins, apricot, whatever dry fruit you like or have on hand. I have craisins, and we need 1 cup. And I do like to chop them up just a little bit, so going to put them on a cut board, take a knife, and just go through it. Just so we don't have some big chunks of fruit. We'll have a bunch of little pieces. Perfect. All right, so we need to let these cool off. Once they cool off, we'll chop them up. We need a half a cup of coconut oil and a half a cup of honey. I'm just going to go ahead and pop this in the microwave and just melt it. Still drinking coffee. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt. This is their coconut oil and honey mixture. You can put your nuts in a food processor if you want. Find it just as easy to put in a Ziploc bag with a rolling pin. I'm not looking for any kind of consistency. I just want to make sure all the big pieces are broken up. Go ahead and dump this in our bowl. And then we need a teaspoon of vanilla. And now I can take these back to the pantry. This is the same baking sheet with the same parchment paper we use to toast our almonds. Oh, you know what? I forgot one thing. Oh my goodness. I forgot cinnamon. Hold on one second. We need a teaspoon of cinnamon. All right, let's go ahead and dump this out. Goodness, that smells so good. Let's get it spread out to as evenly as possible. The next step is very crucial. It's going to cook in a 300-degree oven for an hour and a half. But every 15 minutes, we're going to take it out of the oven, toss it to make sure it's toasting and drying evenly. So we're going to do that a total of 5 times. And then the 6th time we take it out, we're going to let it cool completely before we put it in our jars. We'll set the timer for 15 minutes, and then we'll bring this out. We'll give it a toss. The first 15 minutes is up. I'm going to give it a toss. Now I'm going to smooth it out again and bake it for another 15 minutes and repeat. All right, back in the oven. Set the timer. I'm going to go ahead and get started on some yogurt. I picked up my milk 2 days ago and I haven't separated the heavy cream. I'm going to do that before we get started on this yogurt. So the heavy cream floats to the top of the milk. So I'll just take an 1/8 of a cup measuring cup and just try to get as much of this deliciousness as I can. I like using heavy cream when I'm short on butter. I can make butter really quick. For Alfredo sauce, I can add this to my tomato bisque soup that we canned together the other day. So this, to me, is worth the cost I pay for this milk. It's having this delicious heavy cream. It's almost time for me to toss those granola. Let me set this aside for a second because it's going to beep any minute now. Can you see it changing colors already? It's toasting beautiful. Back in the oven for another 15 minutes. And back to the heavy cream. And if I get a little bit of milk in here, it'll be okay. So 1/2 gallon of milk. Going into the Instant Pot, and I want to get all whatever's left over the heavy cream in here. That is just going to add some flavor, some delicious fats. And I do add powder milk to mine. That helps it not be so watery. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I do it because I like a thick yogurt without having to strain it. So a cup of powdered milk. We're going to whisk that in. We're going to put our insert inside the Instant Pot. Put the lid on. The yogurt setting. Hit it until it says boil. And now we're just going to let it come up to temperature because milk for yogurt has to heat up to 185 to 190 degrees. That way we don't have to babysit it, constantly stir it to make sure it's not scorching on the bottom, and that it's coming up to temperature. Once it reaches that temperature, we have to let it naturally cool down until it gets between 110 to 115 degrees, and that's when we add our yogurt starter. But as for almost a whole pint of heavy cream, this will just go into the freezer until we need it. Now, in case you're not aware, you can freeze heavy cream, cream cheese, milk, butter, regular cheese, like good cheese, like pepper jack, cheddar cheese, mozzarella. All of these freezes great. So you can buy it in bulk where the unit price will be cheaper. Most of my things I just mentioned, except for the milk and the heavy cream now, comes from Azure Standard. And I just buy it by the case, whether it's a small case like the cream cheese. I think it's 10 7-ounce tubes in a box. I just buy that and I stick it in the freezer. My butter, I either buy it in small bulk, like 3 or 6 or 10 bricks, or I buy it by the case and I just keep that in the freezer. The heavy cream we get from our local cow share that's local to me. We separate that cream and we just put it in a mason jar and just stick that in the freezer. Freezes wonderful. So we got 6 minutes left on the last toss of the granola. Yogurt is going. When we're ready to take that granola out of the oven so it could cool off, I'll bring it back and show you how it toasted so beautiful. An hour and a half, tossing every 15 minutes, to me is the perfect flavor, toastiness, dryness of that granola. So our yogurt came up to temperature. Now we need to let it cool down to 110 to 115 degrees, and then we can add our yogurt starter. So I'm just going to cover it with a kitchen towel. And we are done with the granola. We need to let it cool completely before we put it in our jars. But I'm going to insert a picture right here showing what it looked like before we started toasting it. And then you'll see what it looks like after we toast it. Smells delicious. Tastes so good. Making homemade granola is little hands-on time. The most of that is measuring, chopping, crushing up the nuts that we use. But the actual cooking time, it's an hour and a half with a toss every 15 minutes, total of 5 times. But we have granola. It was time well spent. And its ingredients, we know what's in here. We have honey, coconut oil, oats, shredded coconuts, craisins, cinnamon. That is it. A little bit of salt. But this is a homemade granola that we know what's in here. And it's great as a cold cereal with some milk. You can also add this to your yogurt. It's good as an ice cream topper. The possibilities are endless. It is delicious. I love it in my yogurt. All right, so we're gonna let this cool off, but look at that, it's beautiful. So we can check off the granola. Now we're gonna go ahead and get our granola in the jar. This is a 1/2 gallon jar, and if I remember correctly, took a 1/2 gallon and maybe a quart, but let's find out. So I got a container of yogurt out of the refrigerator. Let's see if we can do this so easy. Perfect. I'm going to stir that in. So we have granola for our yogurt or cereal or whatever we want to use it on. A whole 1/2 gallon. We have homemade yogurt with homemade granola. Family. Delicious. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and check the temperature of our milk. All right, it's still 130 degrees, so we need to let it sit here for a little bit longer until it gets down to 110 to 115. I'm going to go ahead and eat my granola yogurt for breakfast. So I just did the math on our homemade granola. It is 2 pounds and 3 ounces. Compare that to a store-bought. Found at Food Lion, you can get 11-ounce bag of granola, and it's $2.48 a bag. We would need 2.92 containers to equal our granola. At $2.48 times 2.92 comes up to $7.24. So we have right here $7.24 worth of granola if we were to buy this at the store. The price I just showed you on the granola was a Walmart brand, so it's not a good, clean, quality granola. Ours is. I'm going to read the ingredients to you. If I can figure out how to insert pictures, I'll show you what I was looking at. The ingredients in this store-bought granola is whole grain rolled oats, cane sugar, canola oil, rice flour, corn syrup, molasses, whole grain brown rice flour, and honey. May contain traces of milk, egg, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, and soy. Ours has none of that. Absolutely none of that. It's whole ingredients that we have in the house, in our pantry, ready when we are. So if you're on the fence of buying granola versus making it, I suggest make it. I guess I could figure out the cost, but that's a lot because I buy my oats in 25 pounds. I buy my nuts and my craisins and coconut shreds by the 5 pounds, and measuring a half a cup or 1 cup, or as for the oats, 4 cups. It's a lot of math. But I can tell you, ours did not cost $8. If I were to guess, I would probably think maybe $4. $4 is not bad for a good quality granola. That's over 2 pounds. Oh, plus we already ate some. So it's more than 2 pounds and 3 ounces. We got a good quality granola that we made ourselves, that we know the ingredients that are in here. Enough of that. Let's check our milk, see if it's come down in temperature. We're at 115 degrees. Now we can go ahead and add our yogurt starter. So this is the yogurt starter I saved from my last batch. It's unsweetened, unflavored, plain yogurt. I'm just going to give that a good swish. Make sure that yogurt starter is just evenly distributed among the milk. Alright, that is good. Back to the Instant Pot. We're going to drop our insert into the Instant Pot. Put the lid back on. We're going to hit the yogurt button. Click it twice until it comes up to 12 hours. And in 12 hours, when the timer is up, we'll take the insert out. We'll go ahead and reserve about 3/4 of a cup of starter for our next batch. And then the remainder, we'll sweeten it with some maple syrup and some vanilla. I save all of my peanut butter jars, and we should get about 6 or 7 of those. And then we'll have yogurt for the week. So out of a gallon of milk, I was able to get almost a whole pint of heavy cream. I'm going to get a week's worth of yogurt, plus we still have another half gallon in the refrigerator. So if you ask me, $10 for a gallon of milk from a local herd share is not a bad price considering it's raw, organic milk. That we can get a good quality heavy cream, make a good quality yogurt, still have some milk in there for if we want to have granola cereal, want to make cheese, or whatever. It's not a bad price. I think I want to go ahead and get started on dinner now. So today we're going to make chicken Parmesan, but we're going to bake the chicken with spaghetti and homemade pasta sauce. If you saw the video a couple weeks back where we did some pork chops and we put a breadcrumb on it, put some honey on it, and I put the leftover breadcrumbs in the freezer, this is that breadcrumbs. It has onion powder, garlic powder, thyme, salt, and pepper. We're just going to repeat that. So I might put some Italian seasoning in there. But I know I need to add more breadcrumbs. So this is my breadcrumbs. I do have some in the freezer somewhere, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to add this in here. We're going to add some pepper. Some salt. Garlic powder. Maybe a teaspoon. And then a teaspoon of onion powder. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees, and we're going to add a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. This is the chicken breast that we bought on sale and portioned them into 8 small pieces and froze them. Took it out of the freezer, let it thaw. I'll put this in the bag. Make sure I separate each piece. Let me go wash my hands. We're going to give it a toss in this breadcrumbs. You want to make sure all the chicken has been well coated all over. Now I'm going to put my pre-seasoned breadcrumbs in the freezer for future use. And the reason we want to keep this in the freezer is because it has come in contact with raw meat and we don't want it to go rancid and spoil. Now we're going to put our chicken in the oven. I've got a pot of water coming up to a boil, and I went ahead and weighed out 10 ounces of spaghetti noodles. 10 ounces is the perfect amount for the husband and myself to have leftovers. We have the chicken breast in the oven, but now I need to go ahead and make the sauce. Now I like having canned pasta sauce or jarred pasta sauce, but I don't have any more left. But I do have a case of those same tomatoes we used last time coming on my next Azure order, so we will be making some very soon in the future. But in the meantime, I have to make it homemade now. So it's just going to be a simple pasta sauce. I have 2 cans of 15-ounce tomato sauce going in, and 1 can of 14.5 ounce of diced tomatoes. I have a half a can of water. I like swishing them between the cans to make sure we get all the goodness out. I'm just going to start off with a half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of basil, a teaspoon of onion powder, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. As it cooks, we will taste it to see if it needs anything else, and it probably will need some sugar, because I always add sugar to my sauce just to break down that acid just a bit. Now I'm just going to put this on the stove on a medium low. Let it slowly simmer and the flavors can mellow out together. I'm not going to put my spices completely away because we will be adding to it. I know we will. So we have the chicken in the oven. We got the water on the stove for the pasta, and we've got our tomato sauce made. I want to add about a good heaping tablespoon of brown sugar to our sauce, and I'm going to add another tablespoon of basil. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and drain the pasta. Now we're just waiting on the chicken that's in the oven. Let's go ahead and flip our chicken. And put this back in the oven. Now we want chicken breast to be cooked to 160 to 165 degrees. So we'll leave it in there until they're nice and crispy, and then we'll check the temperature. Well, let's check the temperature of your chicken first. We're going to go into the side. Like I said, it needs to be 160 to 165 degrees. We're at 165 on that one. I do want to check different ones that are different thickness to make sure they are all cooking even. Okay, we are good to go. Start building our dinner, family. So I have a casserole dish right here. We're going to add our cooked pasta. This is our pasta sauce. Parmesan cheese that we grated and froze together. Put a good handful on top of the pasta. Give that a good toss. Cheesy goodness right there, family. Put our chicken right on top. Top it off with some more sauce. Add some mozzarella to the top of that. This is home grated mozzarella that we get from Azure Standard. We grate this together also. A little bit of Parmesan right on top of that. Oh, yes, family, that looks so good. Now the spaghetti is done, the tomato sauce is done, and the chicken is also done. We just want to warm this up until the cheese melts. The oven is still on 350 degrees. I keep calling this dinner, but it's actually lunch because it is 12 o'clock now. Right, so let me scoop out some of this deliciousness on a plate. It is bubbly hot too, I can tell you. Look at all that goodness, cheese on there. Oh, yummy. Let me go ahead and scoop out the husband some. And like I said, this is plenty for us. We'll have it for lunch today. We'll have it for dinner tonight. And if there's anything left over, we'll have it for lunch tomorrow. So good. Alright, so we go ahead and take this to the husband. Now let's taste this. Trying to get the perfect bite with some pasta, some sauce, cheese, and chicken. It's going to be hot. Delicious, family. The husband and I are going to sit down and eat dinner. Delicious. Yogurt's been in the Instant Pot for 12 hours. It is done. And the first thing we want to do is go ahead and save some for our starter for the next round. That's our starter. We're going to add maple syrup for sweetness. Just about 2 tablespoons. And we're going to add vanilla for flavoring. About 2 teaspoons. We're going to whisk that really well. We're going to pour this into our jars. So we have our starter for the next go round. And we have 6 jars of yogurt. And our beautiful granola we made. Productive day today, guys. So I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me today while we made granola, made yogurt, and we made dinner. We made a delicious chicken Parmesan dinner. Can't wait to see you next time. Right over here you'll see a couple videos. I hope you find that entertaining, as well as some information that you can incorporate into your kitchen. Until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family.